Well, as I was cleaning up all my stuff, and my scan tool had an update, which was pretty cool. Now we have battery voltage on here. Never had that before. I just scanned the codes on this car again just because I wanted to just test out the new program, and I have this ASD main sense circuit fault. I didn't have this code before. I did see it earlier. Let's clear this and let's start it. I think we might have our answer with this grounded wire. It might be that I need to, because it's grounded all the time now, and I'm grounding maybe the board too. Like maybe I eliminate the computer side of the circuit. Key off for a couple minutes. This would be maybe when that ground circuit is being isolated with the key off. I am not sure. Oh, no codes. I'm going to be putting a computer in this if this code comes back. Now, how do I get it to set is the question. Nope. I didn't wait long enough. Let's turn the key off and we'll wait for a couple minutes. We'll come back to it. Huh. Now it's not setting that code. I'm going to try one more time, an off period. As I'm sitting here waiting, I was thinking maybe I let it run for a little bit too. It almost stalled on me. I'm pretty sure that's because the purge valve just opened. We're going to see if that purge valve turns on. You're going to see it in this map. Yeah, that's what it was. It's purging, and that almost stalled right there. Look how high that map. That's called a saturated charcoal canister. Sorry I don't have RPM in here. I should have pulled RPM in so you could have seen that. It dropped down to about 400 RPM there when that purge turned on. But that's what that was. So that has nothing to do with anything I wired, that intermittent roughness right there. That was just the purge valve turning on. And a charcoal canister that was completely saturated. That code's not coming back, that ASD sense circuit. That's weird. Alright. One more time. Key off. Key out. Open the door. Close the door. Pretend like I left the car. And I'm going to scan it one more time after a few minutes. Just real quick, guys, my brother uses this Flagship One. We can give them some props, huh? Flagship One. What's the website? FS1. What's that say?
Just type
FS1inc.com. Flagship One, and for this is a Reman engine computer.
No tax, no core.
Programmed plug and play for $157.
No tax, no core.
And you haven't had any issues using these at all?
Well, the first issue I had, you were here for this. It was like a Durango. And the charging circuit of the computer went bad because the alternator shorted out internally and killed the driver that duty cycles the alternator.
I don't remember.
You were here doing something else.
So it was
but it was a brand new computer and it was fried. But then I start questioning the guy. I'm like, because he did his own. He got an alternator, put it in, it didn't work. Then he got a computer. He said he put it in and it didn't work. But he put his old alternator back in
and he cooked it.
Fried the new computer.
Okay, so that's the only problem you had was.
But they said, oh, it's under warranty, and then he paid me for my diagnostics and he took it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
And then that was it. You know, so I use that one now on got one ordered for that Jeep that you didn't post yet. The one.
Oh yeah.
The wiggle, that's coming, but I don't know when it's coming.
Okay, cool. So we'll get a follow up on that. I haven't posted that yet because I didn't finish it.
I did one on a Ford. The Ford one was like 220, I think, though. Maybe it was 180. I don't know. It was a little bit more, but it was for a coil driver. When the coil fries and it killed the driver, and the computer sets a 356 code. And I did one of those and changed that.
It was plug and play too?
Plug and play. No,
the
I had to
keys.
program the keys on the Ford.
You used the autel for that.
I used the autel to do the key thing, and it was a 20-minute thing where it was able to do it. That was the only thing I needed to do.
And we didn't have to go to SPS programming.
No,
That's freaking awesome.
And then, but the last Chrysler one I did started right up. Like it had the VIN in it, and that's all the VIN it cares about. Because if the skim module, if that
security
VIN,
something,
if that VIN matches the VIN in the computer, then it's happy with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just went. So.
Nice. Well, for what I'm seeing, like a little bit unknown, that ASD sense circuit. I'm leaving the key off for a little bit longer, but for the price of that, that's the way we need it.
That's the right fix.
Like my Mickey Mouse fix, I never liked to begin with, but it was neat to be able to get rid of the code.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, though, if that code sets again, if that tells me a little bit what I wanted to know about the why would you run a ground to the computer when it's grounded all the time on an output that's not monitored?
I wonder if with the, is it grounded with the computer? Like you said,
with the key
ASD,
off, it might take that ground away with the key off.
It might.
And so that's the extra test that's being done on that circuit, is it's isolating that ground somehow.
And I can't imagine there's just that ground.
No, but like,
even though it's that wire, it's got to be more internal circuitry.
Multiples that it's isolating, and it's showing a ground on that circuit when it's looking for some kind of bias on the ground. When it switches it off, and it doesn't switch. It doesn't see it because I'm pulling the bias straight to ground through my jumper wire. So I could cut the computer side wire and get that out of the mix. You know what I'm saying? Leave it grounded on the solenoid, but get the computer part out of it. In other words, I spliced in. If I would, we could.
If it was our cars, we'd be doing that.
Exactly. If it was my car, I would be doing that. Yep, exactly. But that's just a hypothesis. I don't know. Let's see. All right, so we're back on the Chrysler. This is from that flagship one. Boy, did we get all kinds of crappy comments about flagship one.
Did you really?
They said, and from my viewers, I said, maybe we haven't used them enough to see the problems that everybody's talking about. They're so many negative comments for flagship one, and this is like our 6th or 7th one with zero issues. And so we're not trying to mislead you guys as far as this website goes. But
if you can get a computer for $160,
right? And this is one that I couldn't program. I literally couldn't program this one, and so this is from flagship one again. We're gonna plug it in, and we'll follow up. Danner's gonna bolt that up for me while I'm wrapping up this truck that we're working on, and then hopefully it fires right up. We'll see. I don't know. It starts and runs. That's good. Let's get a scanner on that. Back on the van, it starts and runs, but we have a check engine light on. I'm gonna grab the scan tool. It's got accelerator pedal position sensor fault codes. Those are new. Flagship one. That sucks. APP circuit low, APP circuit low. You guys warned me about flagship one. So we have 0.4 and 0.2. APP is the gas pedal. I'm just gonna open and close it with my foot, and we're gonna watch this voltage. APP fault codes, Danner. APP 1 and 2, they're working fine. Oh, I've seen that. The APP 2 dropouts on Chryslers. Yeah, that's actually normal to see that. Believe it or not. Yes.
Is there any kind of calibration or anything with these things?
I don't know. Let's clear them and see if maybe you didn't have the key on. Did you?
I didn't have the battery disconnected.
Let's clear them and see if they go away.
Maybe it was still slightly powered up.
No codes.
No codes. I can't remember if that purge code. Remember, you had the power control and no ground on that.
Oh, it was immediate. It was an immediate fault. I just want to make sure these APP codes don't come back.
So you could blame me for not doing step
Danner, what the hell?
Disconnect battery. I always.
Your Bo.
No.
He's like, yeah, Danner, what the hell? That's Uncle Danner to you.
It has a lifetime warranty, so if it's spiked from me having, rubbing balloons together and touching the computer, that I'm just get a new one.
I mean, it is strange to have APP codes.
Yeah.
When you I know you didn't disconnect the battery, but we're trying to throw flagship 1 under the bus. Everything looks good, man. No codes. How about that APP data? You'll see this in the edits, Caleb. This is crazy. I have seen this on Chrysler, and I got burned by this before, where you see glitches on APP2 that actually don't exist. So let me turn the key on, engine off, open the throttle, and that glitch on APP2, that is a Chrysler thing, man. A scan data Chrysler thing. I have seen that on so many different models. I'm not worried about it. I have actually a lecture on this on the premium channel, the APP2, where I talk about this with my class. So I'll make sure I put a link here with the APP2 glitches that we're seeing here that are not actual problems. It's unique to Chrysler. All right, sweet. No codes, starts up, runs, no anti-theft issues, no skim programming.
I ain't gonna complain until I get burned, right?
I wouldn't complain either, man. All right, our purge valve's here.
They might not even be like refurbished. They might just be junkyard ones that they just are able to wipe them and put your VIN in, and you know what I mean? I don't know, but they're giving you a lifetime warranty and
you know,
shipping like
I mean, I did have a couple people complain. Like one guy complained about, it was a Ford, and he had a driver issue on a coil.
Yeah,
and
I
he
did one of those.
But he only changed the one coil, or he didn't change the coil, and he wiped the new computer out, and they wouldn't warranty it. And his complaint is valid because they didn't tell him, hey, make sure that you change, because for Ford, on the box, it says replace all coils. And so to my customer or my viewer who had that problem, I don't know what the flagship 1 box said. Actually, it probably didn't. It sent you to a piece of plastic. That's a legit complaint from this guy. He didn't know there was a bulletin, which he didn't find out till after. But you know, but it's still.
I asked them that whenever I ordered the one for the Ford, and they said no. Whoever I talked to,
they said no. You don't have to.
You don't. You know, there's no. You know, because I said, do I need anything for this warranty? Do I need to show proof of any of that? And the customer had already changed that number 6 one, you know what I mean? And the 3, I mean, you know, so I told him, I don't know. I guess it's how you talk to him. Because we had that other one, you were involved when I said at the beginning, where he fried the generator driver circuit by putting a shorted alternator back on, because they put the alternator
I know,
first,
and I had mentioned that in the video.
And I had called them back, you know, and they said, no, that's under warranty. Just I didn't tell them what happened. I just told them what was wrong. And they're like, yeah, no, that's under warranty. We'll take care of it. And then.
Well, I guess the other thing too, you know, I had some people complaining about like just a part ordered and it never coming and things like that.
Well, that one Jeep with the wiggle test and the pin test, you know, and his took honestly like 3 weeks to get here.
Gotcha.
You know, this one here was within the 5 to 7 days they told me. His one, but it was a 99 Jeep too, you know what I mean? So his did take like 3 weeks. So
I don't know, so far for us, flagship 1's been great. This is what, number 7 or number 8 now?
So, it's probably 6, I think.
Okay, and you know, that's turnkey, and I mean, for what you'd pay for programming this thing, you know? That's my makeshift ground that I put on from the last time. We're gonna put an amp clamp on this. I believe I had a waveform on the ground wire too. Danner, you got a test light? We'll go on the ground wire first. I'm gonna go battery positive with my test light on this ground wire that should light. Okay, we did not have that before. That's a constant ground. Notice the ground wire's cut, the one I ran. We did not have a ground before. You see the higher voltage on my meter too, 200 millivolts. Amperage we didn't have. So green traces amperage, yellow traces the ground. I'll move my yellow pin to the control wire. This is a switched power. I'll go home, scanner, purge vapor tests. And what we're gonna see is when I turn this on to hit flow, I stalled the car. There we go. There's the waveform of it, the control of it right there. You heard the car stall too. But there's your amperage and your voltage waveform. 0.6 of an amp. We're done. That's all I needed to show. I have control. We have a good ground. Computer was the fix, and flagship 1 came through for us again. I hope you guys enjoyed the case study here. The amperage here, just get one final shot of my connection over here to make sure everybody's clear on what I did. I'm on the control wire, which is a power side switch circuit. The wire that I'm not on anymore is the ground. I showed you guys the test light lit on that, so really no other reason to show you that. I know the amperage and voltage waveforms are a little bit hard to see because they're over top of each other, but that's where the min-max scales come in. This is a pulse width modulated circuit. That's 600 milliamps, so that 0.6 number is your amperage. That's the green trace. Yellow trace is my switched power. And so we're good. We have current flow, we have our feed, and I'm just gonna cut that wire off that I ran, and we're done. We're good to go. This is good.
Cool.
Yeah. So any questions, guys, please put them in the comments underneath this video. And I'm anxious to hear maybe some thoughts on why the computer needs to ground this circuit the way it does, which is to the board all the time, why we were setting that ASD code, and we forgot to do that. Shoot, Danner changed the module for me. I was gonna scan it to see if that ASD code was still there. I don't know if that was being caused by my jumper, but I don't remember seeing that before. And then the other thing too that we can maybe comment on is why me running a constant ground on that circuit would make the engine stall on occasion for the customer. Very strange. But just to sum it up for you smart guys that follow me, what we have is a power side switch circuit, right? Computer driver controls the power, and then the other side is grounded all the time, but it's grounded in the board. It's not an external ground. And so what we're questioning is, why do they do it that way? Why not just run an external ground? Why run it to the board? I think in our first parts we proved that there was really no circuit monitoring going on the ground side, because if there was, we would have codes for the purge valve, and we didn't. I was able to get rid of the purge valve codes by grounding that circuit externally. And so that told me that there's really no circuit monitoring going on there, at least for the purge valve. But there might be circuit monitoring going on for the ground circuit as a whole, for everything else on the car. And I'm not sure. I don't know. We live and learn every day, and I learn from you guys as much as you learn from me. So thanks for joining me. Apologize for my voice being a little bit hoarse. I believe I am getting sick. So yay me. See you guys next time. Check that out. It's Ass Crack City.
Yes.
You're all right.
What am I ass crack for?
This is sweet though. Okay, listen. Customer complaint was a stalling problem on occasion. Guess what he's gonna have? A stalling problem on occasion, because that charcoal canister is completely saturated with fuel. Because how long he's been driving that with no purge, that's why. That's why. He's okay. Gonna have, because when I did that, I just thought about it now. When I did that flow test, it shouldn't have stalled. The reason it stalled when I did the purge flow test, it's full of gas.
But do you think if it regulates it, would it stall?
Just let him know.
Yeah,
let him know.
For a few
yes, until that canister gets cleared. I mean, unless we sit there in a bi-directional mode, but it won't let me do that for any long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is because it was probably working whenever you did your ground thing.
It was.
He drove it a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it was random, but you said it still stalled.
Well, it just did to me now because, well, you cut it, and so now we got a couple more days of driving where we're not. Just warn him that stalling, coming to a stop, you know, when that purge valve comes on is very real possibility.
Okay. Until
that canister depletes of all that stored fuel vapor.
Gotcha.
So I just think that's an important piece.
All right. Yeah. No, that's a good thought.
Okay. The only other thing I could think of, Danner, to prevent that would be if we would like manually connect the two lines and like just run a jumper outside of the purge and give it full vacuum to the canister. before we give it back to them. That might be something that we should consider doing. You gotta follow that. So not with the valve at all, but just take the 2 hoses off, run a jumper between, and give it full vacuum to pull those fuel vapors out. That's what we're gonna do. Little pieces, final things to think about before you give cars back to customers, especially a purge valve that hasn't been working for a long time. Charcoal canister saturated with fuel, causing stalling problems when it turns on is a very, very real likely scenario on what we were dealing with. So